What's with the coffee break?
Sirens, yeah.
What happened?
Usually it's just a coffee break for most.
You think the ambulance, they put the sirens on just to do a coffee break?
Well, they actually, sometimes what they try to do is scare people too.
Like what?
Yeah, because listen, the more scared you are, right, what are you going to do? You're going to run for government assistance, right?
But does it work on you, or are you scared?
Me, you know what? It's funny you asked that about the sirens too, because in 1997, every time I would go out, every time I would leave my apartment, I used to live on. I actually still do live on 8th Avenue. When I left every day for at least 2 months, sirens would like come down, because I had already begun to complain about like the overtime tendencies. I call them overtime bonanzas, right? Like the cops just get all this overtime. So we started to complain in 1997. In 1997, we began to complain more intensely about the overtime tendencies of New York City Police Department, Fire Department, and EMS. And that's when the sirens started, okay? So I actually imagined, okay, that they were actually going to try to kill me, okay? Or maybe not kill me, but maybe just maim me or disfigure me or beat the hell out of me, right? So my brother took me to a doctor, and he said, tell the doctor. So I told the doctor prescribed what?
Medication, yeah.
Okay. So then when I left that doctor's office, there was a cop talking on a public telephone. This was 1997, remember? A cop talking on a public telephone, and he turned around when he saw me, and he said, medication. Yeah. I know, it sounds hard to believe, right?
Wild. How'd the cop know?
Don't ask me. They must have some way of finding out. Yeah.
Do you think the cop's like in on the thing?
Oh, the cops are in on everything. The cops really control almost every segment of society in New York City to some extent. Okay? Yeah.
Do you think he was maybe like friends with the doctor or something?
I really don't know how he figured out that I was going on that I was supposed to go on medication at that time. So that was 1997, and then there was a couple of other things. One day I got do you remember what beepers are?
Yeah.
So I got a double 911 beep, right, on my beeper. Okay, and I arrived home less than 10 minutes later. There were 2 NYPD cars parked right across from my building, the building where I live, and those 2, they were parked like in a perpendicular to the curb, like 90 degree parked to the curb, okay? Yeah, and then get this, when in like a couple of years later, like 3 or 4 years later, I started to include that in one of my documents, okay? It was just a footnote in my document, right? And a couple of days after that, 50 New York City police cars parked perpendicularly, right near my place of employment.
Yeah. Do you think they knew that you wrote in the documents?
Yeah, I guess they must have, right?
And you know about the medication?
I didn't tell anybody.
And then did they do anything after they parked at your work?
No, not that I know of, other than trying to,
Intimidate?
Name or disfigure me, or just.
Has the cops ever tried to do any of that stuff to you?
Sure, of course.
What happened?
I'm the most dangerous man on planet Earth.
Why?
Because I never saw a budget I couldn't cut by less than 50%. And that's big danger to the governmental corporatocracies. Yeah.
And then, so have you ever had any physical altercations with them?
No really physical that I can remember. I'm just a easygoing and stuff.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for telling us that story, buddy. I appreciate it. It was great to meet you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Have a good one, brother.